a lot of cool demos, but I don't know. We'll do one demo and see how it goes. If you all want to go, we can go to the next one. I can stay how long you want me to stay, right? So first, I think I'll start with the social engineering attack, which I think will be interesting for you guys, and then we can go from there. So I'm going to use a tool called Veil Evasion. So that's a website. Again, don't worry about the tool. So basically, there are a lot of GitHub. I mean, most of these tools are in GitHub. So you go there, and then you download the files. So basically, you I don't know, are you guys familiar with GitHub? I mean, okay. So you just go to GitHub and then do a GitHub clone, and then you get the repository, and then it's basically a Python scripts, and then you can do it. I already downloaded that stuff in my Kali Linux, which we played this morning. Let me. Something. Can you guys see it from the back?
Yeah.
Is it? I think hopefully it's good. So I'm going to go to that frame. So I already downloaded that Veil Evasion. Veil Evasion is a tool which is, it has a bunch of scripts. It is used to bypass antivirus and things like that. Antivirus will detect some of it, but again, it's a good tool to start with. You can use that as a starting point and make your payloads more sophisticated. But I'll start with this one. So let me go to Veil. And you can see it's a Python script. That's why I said this morning, you need to have Python skills or Ruby skills so that you know what's going on. So when you run this tool, it's going to say 51 payloads available. Can you see it here? 51. And then I can list the payloads. So there are different payloads. Yeah, don't get intimidated with this one. But I'm going to use, actually, you know what? I'm going to use a different tool. For this, we can use this tool too, but I'm going to use another tool called, again, this is available in GitHub. You can download the Empire. It is based on PowerShell. Okay, can you guys see it? So basically, Empire is a framework like Metasploit where you can create a lot of payloads, reverse shell, bind shell, which we talked about today, and we can create executables which you can email to people. When they open it, you will get a reverse shell. Same concepts we talked about today. So it is a collection of different tools which will ease our process. So I'm going to create what is called a listener. Remember, I told you this morning, when you have to connect to a system, you need to have a listener running. So same as that case, I'm going to go to listeners, and then I'm going to create do options, and I'm going to create. You see the name here. I'm going to give a name. Name called I can use like test 1 2 3. And you see the port here. I want to tell. Remember this morning we used port 4444. So I need to give a port. I'm going to use 5555 for example, right? And then that's pretty much it. And then I say run. And if I do list, you see this this URL right here, 5555. It means that PowerShell Empire is listening on that port. Now I need to create the payload, right? I mean, we're doing social engineering attack. So the goal here is I already have something listening on the system, and I need to create something which we can send it to our users or victims. So they will click on it, and then we can get a reverse shell, right? So this is the framework which is already listening. So I'm going to call, it's called stagers. Again, don't worry about these things. I'm going to macro, and then we need to specify our listener which we created, which is test 1 2 3, right? And then I'm going to say generate. So it says, do you see something says stager output return to temp macro, right? So it created a script for us, okay? So we're going to look at the script. So I'm going to open another window. So I'm going to show you what that macro looks like. Okay, so C temp and then if you list it out, cat macro. This is the file that was created. So what does it look like? It looks like what? A VB script, right? I mean, I'm sure you must have seen a VB script before. So this Empire created a script. So all I'm going to do is, I'm going to copy this whole script, which was created by a tool in a second, which you saw, right? I didn't have to do anything. So I'm going to copy the script as is, copy it, and then I'm going to go to my Windows machine. I mean, this, you can create this in any Windows machine, but I'm going to use it in a box where we're going to assume that this file has been emailed to this person, right? So I'm going to open Excel. So we had a listener set up on our Empire thing, and then we created a stager payload, which is a macro, basically, which is a VB script. So I'm going to open a new blank thing. You're going to go to View, Macros, and then I'm going to create a new one called Auto Open. Okay, and I'm going to just copy paste the script. Hopefully it will copy. Okay, good. So the way Excel works is you need to have a underscore hyphen. So that's where it will. So basically what this is it's a macro. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Whenever you create a macro, when you open an Excel file, that's the script. It runs automatically when you have this auto open, a function created. So it always runs. Whenever you open the file, it will always run. So I'm going to save this file. And call it malware, for example. And let's put it in, say, desktop. Okay, I'm going to close this file. So what did we do so far? We created the listener, and we created a macro using the same tool, and we copied that snippet of code and then we pasted in Excel. So we have this Excel file in here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's an Excel file malware sitting on my machine. You can take this file and you can email it to 100 people. But I mean, they need to be in the same network. For example, if you guys are connected in this Wi-Fi thing, I can send it to all you guys right now. And I already have a listener running on my system right here. So I'm assuming that I email this file to everyone. So the listener is running right here. You see this one, this is the thing we created, the listener, and it's running. So I'm going to just open this file. Assume, so you get this email with the malware. People are going to open, download it, and then double click on it. So it looks like a normal file, right? So you're going to do your stuff and sensitive data, whatever. I mean, you can create the names as crazy as you want, and then you're going to open it. So back here, you see, what do you see there? I got a reverse shell from the system just by opening the file. Did you see anything happening on this Excel file when I open? Mm-hmm. So this is exactly what happens. Hackers can create, how long did it take for me to create that? Since I was talking, it took me 2-3 minutes. But you can do this in like 5 seconds. I can create the script, automate the process. Imagine if I can send this file to millions of people. How many shells will I be waiting for me? This system shows I can see it one shell, right? But I can have like 1,000 shells waiting for me right here without anyone knowing. This is how hackers hack into company networks, as easy as that. So for example, if you if you look agents, you see this last one right here. This last one is the shell from that system. That's the reverse shell we talked this morning. That's why I kept repeating that again and again. You need to ingrain the main. The reverse shell is important. Whenever you're in an Intel network, the hackers need a shell connecting back to you because I have something listening.
Usually they achieve this through an email attachment, right?
That's exactly what I assume that I didn't do the email attachment. I just assumed that file is already there, right?
Okay, so then what I'm saying is, I'll say I'm a corporate company, so someone sends me an email.
Uh-huh.
But usually corporate companies, I think they have a...
They do filter, yes.
Right?
Yeah, but the filter is not going to find this.
Oh, is this so?
It will not find it. But I'll show you another quick example because it's not going to find it. Because it's an Excel file, it's not going to find it. Some antivirus may detect it, but again, you can bypass that easily, very easily. I'm going to show you a good example on that too. So for example, you got the shell, how do you interact with that? So there's a command called interact, and you have to do this agent name. So now if I do sysinfo, So these are information about the Windows system. It says I have a domain xclaris and Pentest3 is username. And trust me, I can use this shell. There's a lot of tools like so basically that's pretty much it. So once I get the shell, I explained to you, I can create users, I can dump passwords, I can pass the hash from this shell. So that is one thing I wanted to show you. I want to go really quick so that I can show you other examples. So is there any questions on this one? How easy it was?
So this is where the scripting language importance is, because once you get that, you know that the shell is using is that what you use to maybe manipulate the other end.
Yeah, this is actually a shell. I'm on a shell.
Yeah, you connect to the shell, but you want it to manipulate the file from the other end without. You want it to interact with it. What are some of the interactions?
Yeah. Basically, there are commands. For example, I'll show you. So there are commands like bypass UAC, which we talked about this morning. So I can send this command. How this works is now I have a shell. This Empire tool, whenever I type something here, it sends the command to the remote system, which is Windows 7. It runs the job there and it sends back the results. Everything in a secure tunnel. This tunnel is encrypted. Even if you have a monitoring system, it won't detect anything because it's encrypted. No one can see that. It is having a key between this tool and that system. And let me see if I can. So you see this, I use this modules. Do you see that? This is all the commands I can run on the system. I can find your domain controller. I can find your exploitable systems. I can find your DNS servers. All these commands are going to run on the target system, not on the Linux system, because I am working on that shell which I received.
So this one applies only to the external facing.
Anything, internal, external.
Even the internal network.
If I'm on the internal, I can do this. If I'm on the public internet, I'm going to target all users. You're going to send a shell back to me. Like I said, it doesn't matter because I'm going to get a shell no matter what. Because you are connecting to me. I'm not connecting because if I can't connect to you because your firewall is going to block you.
So as long as you are like in corporate network, you are internet accessible, right?
Yeah, if I'm inside the network, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But if I'm outside the network, then I have to target the employees, clicking on opening this Excel file or something.
So you can still basically, if you are outside your laptop, right, office laptop, and then at that time you can basically interact with
Because the guy who is sitting in the office, they are going to connect to you as you open.
So once I have the shell, the process I talked about this morning, what is the first thing I do? Because I may lose the shell. If the computer is closed down, I may lose the shell. Shell is a TCP connection. If the computer is shut down there, I'm going to lose the connection. So what is the first thing I will do? Create a backdoor. So that will be a process running on the target system. It will call me every 30 minutes. So even if I lose a shell, I'll have a listener, so it will connect back to me every 30 minutes. So I'm persistent, that's called persistence. So I have a system, that is the initial shell. So once you get the initial shell, then you can pivot and you can try to see what other systems are there and you can go from there. So this is the easiest way. I showed you in 5 minutes. Imagine how much power the hackers have and the different tools they have. So it's that easy.
So what executable is running to provide you that backdoor?
It's the PowerShell commands. So this PowerShell, this tool is called, it's all PowerShell. This tool is called PowerShell Empire. Let me show you that.
So once it is hacked, the target system is hacked, it is shut down, then it is started up after an hour, so it's still...
It will still connect back to me because I do a backdoor. Not this one won't do it, but I need to, as soon as I get the first shell, getting the first shell is the critical part. Once you get that, I can upload another tool to the target system and I will create a scheduled task or I'll create other process. It will call back every 5 minutes. So it's up to you. That's why if you're a developer, you have a good chance because you can create your own program. It's just a TCP connection. Like I showed you the Netcat, right? A Netcat example. That's one tool. You can package that. Netcat is open source. You can find it in GitHub and then you can do that.
Do you see the PowerShell script running in your task list?
Yes, you will see PowerShell. You won't know what it is, but there will be a PowerShell process definitely running. You see the PowerShell right there? I don't have any PowerShell prompts open. You see that's running? It's small, but it's right this one. So it started the process on the remote system. I'm not even running as an administrator, but still it was able to run PowerShell because PowerShell can run. because you opened it, right? Because as a user, you opened it.
Doesn't matter who,
Yeah.
role-wise, right?
So the next thing I'm going to show you is, you talked about antivirus. So this malware, I told you, assume that file is there and then you clicked on it, right? So I'm going to open my Gmail. Let's say you have to email it to some person. So I'm going to attach this file. The malware we just created.
Oh.
I want you to tell me what you see.
There's no way we can find out, if really the attachment is coming from malware, right? It's very
You cannot find it, but I'm going to show you. Hold on. I mean, watch this one. So I'm attaching this malware to send it to people, right? So
Yeah.
let's see if you can see it. So what do you see in the Yahoo thing here? I don't think I can make it
Virus
bigger.
detected, yeah.
So what is it saying?
Google.
Google is detecting that there's a virus there,
Yeah.
right? Antivirus may detect it too. Based on different antivirus solutions, it may say this is a flag. If Google can detect it, some antivirus solution may detect it too. So I did a research on this one based on this script. Actually, this happened recently. So I'm going to open this file. So I'm teaching you real hacking, how it's done. I mean, how thinking process. Like, I mean, you cannot say, hey, this is detected, I cannot do anything. You cannot do like that because you have to go step. That's why in my initial thing I said you need to think outside the box. So let's look at the file. Let's look at the macro we created, right? So this is the macro we created. I mean, this is, what is all this gibberish you're saying? That is encoded. It's encoded and encrypted, right? And I'm sure antivirus cannot read into this stuff because it's all encoded.
Right.
There is no tool that will go through this and decode, and it can't make sense. So the antivirus cannot detect that. No antivirus, even if it's the smartest one, it cannot detect that. Right?
Yeah.
But what is there, anything in there it's detecting? So I was just thinking for a while, and these days I know for a fact that a lot of these email clients are looking for keywords like PowerShell VB scripts because they know they're using PowerShell VB script to exploit systems.
Mhm.
So you can do like, it's a simple thing. All I'm doing is just what I'm doing. I'm just doing this. I'm just splitting the PowerShell, right? And then adding it to next line, right? The context doesn't change. I'm still concatenating the string and then doing it.
Oh.
So let's save it.
Oh.
Any questions on that? I'm just splitting it into 2 lines. So the tool cannot grep for or search for PowerShell, right?
Right.
This took me 3 hours to figure out because it takes time, because it's not an easy thing, because I'm telling you, that's what it's looking for. But if you didn't have a clue, you'll have to spend some time. And now let's save this file. Now this file is as good as to go to anyone. No mail filters are going to filter this email.
Yeah.
And I can email, I can have like 20 shells or whatever, right? So this is easy to hack internal systems. So that's why if anyone walks into your company, they can plug in, let's say all your Ethernet ports are open. I can plug a small computer, like Jeff was talking about embedded devices. I can create a hacking device in such a small device. Put that, it will be having its own listening IP. And if I plug it in, I can get access to any system. So it's scary. That's why we recommend if you don't use any plug, Ethernet ports, don't use it. But again, it's hard to implement, right? Big companies, they have too many things to go. So it's not easy to detect those things. So anyway, any questions on this one? This is like I said, it's a quick example. I'm going a little fast. So just to give a flavor of like social engineering attacks. Let me show you one more good example, and then we will take a poll on saying if you want to continue or stop. Okay, next let's take another example.
One quick question.
Sure.
So I know these macros and any document like doc and all these active script and all those things, whichever document allows the scripting can allow.
You can do this in Word document,
Yeah. How about
PDFs. You can do
PDF also
Yes.
now because of this signature and all
Exactly. In
those things.
PDF, these days if you open something, it will say allow, there will be a checkbox. It won't let you open files. That's by default, it's turned off these days.
Yeah.
But if you have to do something, you have to turn that box, and you can do it in PDF. PDFs. You can also trick JPEGs, but JPEGs are not, if it's a real JPEG, then you can't do anything. But you can look a file, you
Like
can make
a
a file look like a JPEG, but it's still executable or a macro on the back end. So it will call it. So you can do something like that too. So let me move on quickly and see what I want to do.
Anything you heard about the videos?
Videos, it's hard to, you cannot patch it. You can, you cannot patch videos. You can hide stuff in there, but yeah, you cannot patch it. So how many of you use PuTTY? a tool called PuTTY. Okay, that's a tool like it's used for SSH and stuff, right? So I already downloaded this tool from the internet, which is the putty.org or whatever, right? I downloaded this tool. You can see putty.org, right? So let's try to see if we can copy this file just for easy access, and then let's see what tool I use to patch. Let's do the whale. I'm sorry. So we looked at this whale, right? So let's see. I don't know which one I tried before. Let's try it. Okay, so now I'm going to list the payloads. Okay, so you look at this one, number 18. Again, whale is antivirus evasion technique, right? So this is a payload called backdoor factory. So backdoor factory is you can try to patch any file, any executable. You name it, you can patch any file, right? And it will put what is called shell code. I don't know if you're familiar with shell. Shell code is a code which runs on a byte level, on a computer level. So you can inject that into any EXEs. It has some challenges, but you can inject that into any code. So I'm going to use this 18, and it is asking for options, right? Oh, it's too big. Okay, I'm going to show you this one. So you have to give a hellohost. What is hellohost? That is the local host. You're telling what do you want to listen on? That is my attacking box, right? So my attacking box is, I think it's still. Hellohost is 192. This morning, if you remember, it's 168. So I'm telling this is the box my attacker is, and what port you want to listen on. I'm just going to leave 4444 for now. And what is the original exe? And what is the exe we are trying to patch? PuTTY. Again, you can use any file you want, any Windows file, and it's on temp. Right? So we set all the options. Then we're going to do generate. So you see it says generate payload. So it is doing some patch. So how this works is, it opens the executable. It looks for, if you have any executable, if you open it in a PU viewer or something like that, there are places where you can inject code which won't change the application. That's how this other thing is working, this technography. I mean, that's how it's hiding information. There are places called enclaves or something. It will try to inject the code in there. So that way the code will still work, but you can still make it run as malware or something like that. So by default it will be called a payload, but I'm going to make it malware. So what does it say here? It says the malware is created here, and then there is a handler file. It creates a payload file and a handler file. This handler file is good because you can use that with Metasploit, right? What do I need now? I need a listener, right? I need a listener on my system, and this exe is going to be emailed to someone else. So I'm going to copy this file. Let's do it. RC, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to open another window. So I know I didn't show you Metasploit, but yeah, just stay with me here. Don't worry about that. But it's basically, it creates a reverse shell on my system, basically. And this helps create all the local IP addresses, port numbers. That's what this RC file does. I will actually show you what this RC file is.
That's a startup file. Right?
Startup file. It's like a batch file with all the parameters already.
See.
Yeah. Yeah, Metasploit is a big framework, so it takes a while to run. So while this is going on, it's listening. Let's go to the next step. This exe is where? In here, right? Malware.exe. It's basically PuTTY. So I'm going to go to another window. So it was an user share whale. Was it Is it output?
Yes.
No, oh, maybe it's in a different place. Oh, I can see it.
Yep.
Oh, veil output. Yeah. So you see this, compile, sorry. So let's rename this to actually putty, right? So I want to transfer this file to the client. I mean, assume that you have access to the client side, right? I mean, you have access to some file share with the client, right? So I have to email this. So we use this trick in the morning to create a simple. So this is just creates a simple web server, so I can just point to this, right? So it's listening on port 8000. So let's see if our Metasploit is already running. Okay, so our Metasploit is running. What does it say here? It started what? This down here. It already started a reverse listener, right? So now let's go to our Windows box. And it was 139 and the port was 8000. So that file is there. So assume this file, as administrators you have access to that. So I'm going to download this file and it's downloaded, and I'm going to double click on it and then run the file. Do you see any difference? What are you guys going to do? You're just going to log on as business as usual, right? So what do you see down here? Metapreter, session received. So now if I go sessions, I have a session. So now I can, that's the one. So I'm on a Metapreter session. Now, actually let me do one thing. I'm going to, give me 1 second because I'm going to show you one more cool thing with this one. Let's say an administrator, but I mean the point is, I mean you already got the session and I can go to shell, and that's the Windows system, right from a Linux system. So you open PuTTY, which was patched, and you can do this for any executable. So now you can think why it is not recommended to go to any site out there and download any exe and run it on a system. Because if you run it, it's going to work, but what you don't know is like there could be a shell to anyone in the world. So do not download from torrent sites or something like that. So be careful of that. Excel files for that matters. So it's,
if I close the application, this will go away.
if they close the application, this will go away. That's right. But as soon as I get this, what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a user for myself as an hacker. I'm going to put a backdoor there. So every time it will call me every 30 minutes. So I'm going to be persistent on the system once I get access. But I'm going to show you one cool thing. Right now I'm logged in as a regular user, right? So that shell I got is limited. I can do only certain things. But like I said, you guys, even today, you're logged in as an admin, right? I'm going to log in as another user. Let's say I log in as an administrator. Admin is spelled right? Oh, I need to put the domain name. So I'm going to exit here. I'm going to run this thing again, the listener thing. Okay, now we are logged in as an admin. Let's go to the same procedure of, we are going to download this putty.exe, but this time what is different? What are we doing this time? Running as a administrator. So you have more power, which pretty much all you guys said you're doing, right? At home or anywhere. So I'm going to go. Okay, we got it. Let's make sure the listener is up and running. Yeah, I think it is running. Okay, again, the file runs without any issues. You got another shell, but this time I will do sessions. I'm going to interact with the session. It's saying the number 1. Okay, I got the Metaprinter, right? So if you go to help, Metaprinter is a tool. All the tools that are in Metaprinter runs in the computer memory. So it is not touching the disk. So what that means is antivirus can detect only if the computer, if the malware touches the disk. If everything is running memory, it is hard for the antivirus to look into memory because there's no way they can look at each and every process. So Metaprinter is that one. That's why it's very sophisticated. But if you look at help,